All right, guys, we'll make a start, eh? Listen, really appreciate everyone turning up today, especially those who put things aside for the day to come along and actually provide a hand in getting this plan burn done. We'll go through, so the incident name for this is Horans Gorge, and the control is Horans Control if you're needing that. So everyone got the SMEAC briefing in front of them there. So I'll go through that line by line just so everyone's aware of all the different elements for the burn today. So the latest is weather today is supposed to get to 17 degrees. We've got relative humidity down to 38%, and we've got winds less than 10 k an hour from the west. So that's sort of been, the last 2 days, it's been a westerly, west-northwest sort of location, so I'm pretty confident we're going to have that for the next 2 days. So we'll have westerly. Going through the models, Sabre and the like, we got rate of spread today with a going fire of 113 metres per hour. So that's obviously on flat ground with the wind and that type of thing. So keep in mind on this burn, we do have some aspect and slope. So that may go up a little bit in places where there's direct sunlight. Obviously where we don't have direct sunlight and we've got a south facing slope, etc., that's probably going to reduce to that. So you'd be lucky to get 50 metres an hour backing down a hill in shade. So the forest fire danger index today is 3 to 5. So 5 I think at its peak, so if we get 10 k an hour winds, it'll hit 5 and then comes back. It's probably at the lower end where it wanted to be for this burn, but we've had to push go because Thursday's looking at 10 to 20 mil and there's 80% chance of that. So if we don't do it now, obviously we're going out towards spring of trying to get this burn done. So we're trying to get fire on the ground when we can and actually get an outcome. So this will be the first stage of the burn. Later on, if we have to fill in spots, depending on the success today or if we've met the objectives, we can come back at a later date and patch it in and get closer to where we actually want to be. So spotting today, they were saying, Sabre's saying 300 metres. I don't think that's going to be the case myself. But these models, you can't put them aside. You've got to keep it in the back of the mind. If everything lines up and we get 16 k an hour winds or something like that, it may be a potential, especially where we've got fire running up slope towards the break. So those people on Sierra sector, just keep that in mind. Where you've got slope coming up to the break and we've got big high fuel loads, that there may be increase your chance of spotting potential. Whether they take off on the other side, I'm not too sure. Right, our mission objective today, ensure life protection. We all go home today at the end of the day. We do everything safe. Use our training, use our skills, use our PPE as last resort to make sure we get the job done and get it done safely. Second to that is property protection. That is the second most important thing we do here today. We sort of make sure we do our burning, we do it safely around assets, etc. Take our time. If you need more resources to be comfortable doing that, just give us a call and we'll get the resources to you. The conservation coming third, that's a distant third. Property, life and property's first and second foremost. The objective today is for whisky sector to have fire contained by 1600 from D through to A. If we can try and get an edge on that, if we can, where we can. I'm mindful that there's sections that mightn't burn. If it doesn't burn, don't waste your drip torch, keep walking on to the next section that will burn. The Sierra sector, fire contained by 1700, going through from there. It's going to be a little bit different. It's not all the way through. I don't believe at this stage that the eastern side from B to C will actually carry fire holistically through the edge. So I'm mindful we may have an open edge there, but that's not a problem. Where I really want is from C through to D contained by 1700 today. Execution, so we've got whisky sector is going to have those 251s, 41s and a couple of QPWS vehicles. We just finalise that when we get Welk in that here and put them in the vehicles and work out how many you've got. I think you'll end up with about 5 resources all up. So I'm looking at 11:45 for your sector, whisky sector starting. Just so what we've got today is an aerial component and they're going to start lighting approximately 11:30. So with the westerly wind, we don't want to put smoke across the block before the helicopter's finished, otherwise he can't finish his job. because their operating procedure is they don't work in smoke. So that depends on how much smoke goes up, etc. But yeah, we just got to be mindful of that. We've had a couple of operations cease in the last month just due to the fact that the plane and the helicopter couldn't see where they were going, so they just go off, so we don't actually finish the objective with the helicopter. Sierra sector, happy for you guys to start at 11:30 on that side, because your smoke won't actually affect the helicopter, or it'll be very little. He'll be nearly over yours inside 10-15 minutes, I'd say. The aerial ignition, so that's been approved. Our aerial operations has been approved by the Principal Ranger. And so they're getting ready at Stanthorpe at the moment. They're on the strip just trying to make sure our machine fits into the helicopter and that, but they don't think they're having any troubles at this stage. It's just got it's a machine going into a chopper they haven't used before, that's all. They should be able to sort that out quite easily. Execution, any breach of containment between B all the way around to A, called into the IC and attempt direct attack if safe. So you guys have well and truly experienced that sort of stuff. You know what you can actually do safely. Go in, obviously if you're going the other side and there's thick vegetation and those things, take all that into account. I'm not going to sort of teach you how to suck eggs. Everyone's been around smoke and fires long enough, so just call it in, go through your sector boss, and then come back. If you need resources from the IC, just get back in touch with us. Current view is fire will be slow moving and it's going to take some time for it to actually evolve. So if we can get a spot early, there's a good chance of containment's going to be successful. So that's looking through Sabre and all those predictive models. It's saying that direct attack is achievable under these conditions. The heavy plant will assist and fall back. Well, that's off. We've just got our loader bogged at the eastern side of this block this morning. So we're currently trying to actually retrieve it. So we may have to try and get it through Waters Road, just that the truck and tag had difficulty getting up there yesterday. So, but we might have to drive it around if we have to at a later date. It depends on how we're going in terms of containment. Like I said, I don't think we're going to have too many concerns at this stage. So we can get the Girraween tractor up here relatively quickly if need be, just to provide assistance. For us, when we do this, the load is about trying to remove hazardous trees from the edge, just to take people's safety at first and foremost. The big machine can knock it in. How are you guys going for chainsaws and that sort of stuff? Because our current directive is it's the last thing we do on fires. So we try and mitigate it through other means. We use the loader, or we do a little secondary containment line or something along those lines. Any chainsawing has to be approved through the incident controller on the fire line. I can delegate that too. I'll have a chat to the sector bosses before you go out. I can delegate that to you just so you're comfortable and just the level of risk, I guess, associated with it, if we can leave it or not, or what the potential is for that tree to cause containment to be lost. But we'll go through that. Command control, so Horan control, I'm in 4359, but Horan control will get me here. The helicopter's only got UHF in it today. It's run on channel 12. If you need anything from them, not ideal. We do have a handheld VHF in there on 323, but it's hard because I don't think they'll be able to connect it into the headset straight away. So we've got Whiskey Sector, so Sector Boss is Ian Townsend. So Whiskey Sector is going on 059, which is the Mount Dillon channel. So if you run that one, that'll work best. Then by all accounts, the overlay says that's going to work really well. It's only, what, 5k away from here or something, isn't it? Right, Sierra Sector, you've got Charlie Finn, Girraween 323 channel. So that's at Christie's target. So the guys did some tests yesterday and they got good coverage. I don't think smoke will interfere because you've got obviously westerly wind pushing it out to the east. So before we go out, we'll get just the sector bosses go through and we'll just work out what vehicles you got, just so we know what units are in your sector. Safety, with this one, obviously we've got pretty rugged sort of brakes and that sort of stuff. Be careful of switchbacks, slope running up towards the brakes. There's a couple of sections, especially on Sierra Sector, where we've got slope running at the brake. That's where we may have some difficulty with containment. And just four-wheel drive, low 4 going up this first little pinch here, up to the top towards Waters Road. It's quite steep. I was going to send you back by the highway, but I was told yesterday there was no roadworks, but it seems to be... That was just... So, Pedro says they're able to drive it up. We'll try and minimise the amount of vehicles going up and back so we just don't chew it out. So if we just go up once and then come back this way, what we can do is see later on we'll work that out. Just try and minimise the amount of times we have to go back up and down. In places we've got very high to extreme fuel loads on both sides of the brakes, so that's a bit of a risk. It just depends on what your fire behaviour is once you start lighting. Obviously those people with the drip torch realise the fire's in your hands, and just look back around and what's actually happening behind you, just not head down and lighting, because the people mopping up won't appreciate if they're busy putting out spot fires and you're half a K ahead, so just talk in. I think like you guys are probably same operating as us, where you're radio on you when you're lighting, just to touch base with the sector boss. Escape routes here, back through Horans Gorge Road. This will be a safety refuge area here. There's another one at Waters Road. Just if you need to come back and just regroup and if we need to retask. Escape routes, which isn't going to happen, but we always talk about these just so people are aware, is Horans Gorge Road out to towards the New England Highway. We've got Waters Road, we've also got Elms Road for those on Sierra sector out to the east, and we've got Limberlost, but that's last resort, that one up there, just due to the steepness of it. We don't want vehicles going up there, but they can get up there, Townie, if need be. Scratching. Yeah, it won't happen, but
Trucks will be scratching.
Yeah, what if? That's last resort. I don't expect that. I think the best way, if something happens, we'll come back to this refuge here and sort of regroup and work out what we have to do from there. We've got fallback options to the south. We've got some brakes which have been prepped in advance, just slashed. They're not great. If we have to do something, we can do that. Hopefully, if we don't need to do that, but if we need to bring more machinery in, we can do that at a later date. We said, I don't think fire's going to, it's not going to be running kilometres or anything like that. If it is, it might be 100 metres. And we might have a look if that happens. We might even come back tomorrow morning with ground crews and actually go and rake hoe around it and do a manual containment line if we end up with something on the wrong side of the brake. But that's last resort. I don't think we'll have those concerns, but it's just an option that we may have. Emergency response procedures. If you've got something on your sector, initial thing is to go through your sector boss. Anything operational for them to control, they can deal with that. If the sector bosses can't deal with the resources they've got, then go back to IC and then we'll find more resources if need be. So everything goes through the sector boss for that information from the operations. Rightio, we're nearly there. So we've got, media's been issued for this, so we've got community service announcements in place. I don't know if anyone heard it this morning on ABC local radio, so community service announcement went through there. It should have gone through. They've been picking and choosing which ones, but I know John Welk got onto them yesterday to make sure that it did get played today. I think Pedro put it on the Ballandine Facebook. Excellent, thank you. And that gets the message out. I did catch up with 2 individuals this morning who were sort of on Yuki Road, but not our direct neighbours. They hadn't heard about it, so it is what it is. They're sort of not up with Facebook, I suspect. They were probably the wrong side of 70, but that's all good. So yeah, QPWS media put out a post too, I believe, this morning. So it went through their alert page and it'll be on there. So we've contacted all the neighbours, fire permits where we go in and out of freehold lands. So when we're burning portions of freehold, obviously due to the rough, rugged terrain, we can't put a fire break on the national park boundary. So we've managed that and gone through those. All right, I'll stop talking now. Any questions?
Di Woolley doesn't want anyone going past her house up here, on top of the first one on the right up here.
Yep, rightio.
Help it, because she's got solar panels and stuff in the road, so they won't get through there anyway.
Yep, all right.
That's just that one up, the first one up top of the hill.
Yep.
Just stick to the back boundary of it.
Can you have a chat to Ian about that and just keep people on the right side there? We shouldn't be going off track there anyway. We'll stick to the break. But yeah, that's a good call. Water points, they're dotted all the way through here. There's one 250 metres up this break here, which is a good water point. And there's a couple on near Waters Road there. So we should be able to get access to lots of water if need be, worst case scenario. There's also Sierra Sector one. You've got one at sea, there's a dam there you can tap into, Charlie. Anything else? Everyone happy?
Staying stable today.
Food, wait up, sorry. Food, guys, make sure you grab some sandwiches from the fridge in here, and there's slice and drinks and that sort of stuff. Grab some for your head out today. Got that. Sorry, Brett?
No changes in weather today, it's going to be fairly standard.
Standard all day. I believe that is for the full operational period. Westerly winds 10k an hour maximum. Goes west northwest at 5 o'clock and then a little bit southwest, but it does exactly the same thing tomorrow. So yeah, very stable weather. We've got a good high, which is providing plenty of stable weather. So there's no major wind changes or anything expected today. And yeah, no increase in strength of winds that's been predicted yet. I can get a spot forecast later on if need be, but I think it's a good stable weather pattern at the moment.
Nathan, we might have to use the slope to help us out on the south side, I'd say, will we?
Absolutely, yep. And like I said, if it won't burn, just move on, because you'll have to come back at a later date. Yep, definitely. I don't expect you to be able to get a thick edge, so don't be aiming for 20 metres the whole way along, but where you can get fire to take, I'll leave that to you guys. We think, like, if it's not burning, happy to use a full line point, but if you've got lots of fuel and you put a spot there and it goes in from there, happy for you to use. So the person lighting, make sure you've got control of the fire, use what you need to do to get the outcome that we need. Ultimately, we would love 20 metres of black earth on the fire break, just so it is. So, and we're going to be aiming for that over the next couple of months. But yeah, just to get a start, we can get edge in, get it in, Charlie.
You're happy for all of us ground crew to be on UHF 12, or do you want?
Yeah. No, happy to leave UHF. The VHF's free, so I'd prefer you probably use that today. Go through that. So there shouldn't be anyone else on 323. So your channel today will be clear. So I'd be using VHF over UHF. Just with the helicopter going, it's all they've got. I don't want sort of interference with the helicopter back to control. All right, make a start. Don't need anything else? All right, thank you.
Yeah, I think if you just put your legs in the forward drive and just climb that first section, you'll get up it all right. Just take it steady. It's a little bit of a sharp bend, but mate, it's no worse than going into sundown.
No, absolutely. All right. Yeah, you just arrived. Thanks for that. The guys are going.
We can go home, mate.
No. Yeah, all good.
John's only just a few minutes behind us.
No, all good.
He liked the Steelers hotbird shop in the boys.
Everyone does. I like Ballandine myself. It's got the best sausage rolls going, I reckon.